the misty heights of the Peruvian Andes, where clouds embrace ancient stones and silenced whispers through the valleys, lies a place that defies time itself, Machu Picchu. A city so perfectly carved into the mountain that even today, no one truly knows how it was built or why. It is called the Lost City of the Incas. But was it ever lost, or was it meant to be hidden from invaders, from time, perhaps even from humanity itself? This is the story of a forgotten empire, divine kings, and a civilization that mastered the impossible. This is Machu Picchu, the hidden city of the Inca Gods. For centuries, Machu Picchu remained a whisper, a legend passed down through generations. Spanish conquistadors who relentlessly scoured the Andes for gold and glory never found it. It was as if the mountain itself conspired to keep its secrets safe. It wasn't until 1911 that a Yale historian named Hiram Bingham, guided by a local farmer, was led up a steep, treacherous path. What he found wasn't a ruin, but a perfectly preserved ghost city, slumbering under a blanket of jungle vines. Bingham believed he had found Vilcabamba, the last refuge of the Incas. But the truth, as we now know, is far more complex and captivating. Machu Picchu was not a fortress of last resort, but something else entirely. Something sacred. Let's step back into the 15th century, into the golden age of the Inca Empire. The Sapa Inca, or emperor, was not just a ruler. He was considered a living god, a direct descendant of the sun god, Inti. The greatest of these emperors was Pachi, whose name means he who remakes the world. And remake it he did. From a small kingdom, he forged a vast empire stretching for thousands of miles along the spine of South America. It was Pachacati who, around 1450, is believed to have commissioned the construction of this incredible mountain estate. But why choose this remote, inaccessible peak, flanked by sheer cliffs and the roaring Urubamba River below? The location was no accident. The Incas were masters of sacred geographies. They saw divinity in the landscape, and Machu Picchu is perfectly aligned with holy mountains, Orapis, and celestial events. It sits in a cradle of sacred peaks, a place where the earth and the heavens could meet. It wasn't just a royal estate. It was an astronomical observatory, a spiritual retreat, and a gateway to the divine. The engineering of Machu Picchu is a marvel that baffles experts to this day. The Incas had no iron tools, no wheels, and no written language as we know it. Yet, they quarried and transported massive granite blocks, some weighing over 50 tons, and fitted them together with such precision that not even a knife blade can fit between the stones. This technique, called ashlar masonry, created structures so stable that they have withstood centuries of earthquakes and erosion. Look at the Temple of the Sun, a magnificent semicircular tower built around a natural rock. During the winter solstice, the sun's first rays shine directly through a small window, perfectly illuminating the sacred stone within. This was not just architecture. It was a conversation with the cosmos, or considered the Intihuatana stone, the hitching post of the sun. This masterfully carved pillar was designed to track the sun's path, marking solstices and equinoxes, crucial for their agricultural calendar. It was a cosmic clock, connecting the cycles of human life to the rhythms of the universe. Life in Machu Picchu was a world away from the imperial capital of Cusco. Only about 750 people lived. Here at any given time, the emperor and his royal court, high priests, and a dedicated staff of caretakers known as Yanacona. They were the chosen few, entrusted with maintaining this sacred space. The city is cleverly divided into two main sectors, the agricultural and the urban. The agricultural sector is a stunning display of terrace. These terraces, or andines, were not just for growing crops like maize and potatoes. They were a brilliant solution to farming on a steep mountainside. They prevented soil erosion, maximized sun exposure, and included sophisticated drainage systems that have worked flawlessly for over 500 years. The urban sector was the heart of the city, with plazas, temples, and homes. The quality of the stonework tells you who lived where. The finest, most intricate masonry was reserved for royal residences and sacred temples, like the Temple of the Three Windows, whose massive trapezoidal windows frame the majestic mountain landscape beyond. It's as if the Incas weren't just building on the mountain, they were building asterisk with asterisk, integrating their structures into the natural rock formations. So what? Why was this vibrant, sacred city abandoned after only about 80 years of use? The answer is as mysterious as the city's construction. There are no signs of a battle, no evidence of an invasion. The most likely theory is tied to the downfall of the Inca Empire itself. Around the 1530s, the Spanish conquistadors arrived, bringing with them disease and war. The empire, already weakened by a brutal civil war between two royal brothers, began to crumble, with the supply lines from Cusco cut off and the royal court in disarray. Machu Picchu was likely slowly and peacefully abandoned, its inhabitants simply packed up and left, melting back into the Andean valleys, leaving their masterpiece to be reclaimed by the jungle. The sacred city, once a vibrant center of Inca cosmology, fell silent, its purpose fulfilled, its memory entrusted to the mountains that cradled it. It was not lost, but intentionally let go, its sacredness preserved by its isolation. Today, as you walk through these silent streets, you can't help but feel a profound connection to the past. You can almost hear the echoes of chanting priests in the temples, see the royal procession moving through the main plaza, and feel the reverence the Incas had for the world around them. Machu Picchu isn't just a collection of old stones. It's a testament to a civilization that lived in harmony with nature, that saw the divine in a mountain peak and the stars, and that possessed a knowledge and skill that we are still trying to understand. It teaches us that some things are not meant to be conquered or owned, but simply to be marveled at. It is a reminder of the incredible heights that human ingenuity and spirit can achieve when aligned with the natural world. A hidden city that, once seen, is never forgotten. Long before the first European ships dared to cross the vast, unknown oceans, and centuries before the Spanish conquistadors set foot in the New World, a mighty and magnificent empire rose high in the breathtaking Andes Mountains. They were a people of the sun, the mountains, and the stone. They called themselves the Inca, and the world they built was unlike any other that has ever existed. Imagine, for a moment, sprawling villages nestled into the steep slopes of the mountains, their stone terraces climbing towards the sky like giant green staircases. Picture herds of llamas grazing peacefully on high plateaus, their gentle presence a constant in the daily life of this civilization. This wasn't just a place, it was a living, breathing world, meticulously crafted and deeply connected to the cosmos. The story of the Inca is born from myth and legend, a tale as epic as the mountains they called home. They believed their very first king, the legendary Manco Capac, was not a mere mortal. He was a child of the most powerful deity in their pantheon, the sun god, Inti. According to their sacred stories, Manco Capac and his sister wife, Mama Oclo, emerged from the shimmering, sacred waters of Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world. They were given a golden staff by their father, the sun, with a divine instruction: travel north and find a place where the staff would sink effortlessly into the earth. This sacred spot would be the heart of their new kingdom. After a long and arduous journey through the rugged Andean landscape, they arrived in a fertile valley. There, the golden staff plunged into the rich soil, disappearing completely. This was the sign they had been waiting for. This was the chosen place. They founded their capital city here and named it Cusco, which in their Quichua language means the navel of the world. It was more than just a city. It was the cosmological center of their universe, the point from which all life and power would emanate. From this divine and bustling city, the Inca began a remarkable expansion, forging one of the greatest and most sophisticated empires in history. At its zenith, the Inca Empire, known as Tawantinsuyu, or the Realm of the Four Parts, was a colossal entity. It stretched over 2,500 miles along the spine of the Andes, a dominion that ran from the lush landscapes of Colombia down through Ecuador and Peru, into Bolivia, and reaching into the arid deserts of Chile and the mountains of Argentina. To govern such a vast and diverse territory, home to millions of people speaking different languages and practicing different customs, required unparalleled genius in administration engineering, and social organization. They were masters of integration, weaving conquered peoples into the fabric of their empire not just through force, but through shared economy, religion, and a statran system of welfare. The essence of the Inca worldview was a profound and unwavering reverence for the natural world, which they saw as infused with divinity. Every road they built, every stone they carved, every ritual they performed was meticulously designed to honor the gods, especially their solar father, Iti. To the Inca, life was a form of sacred geometry. The earth itself, which they called Pachamama, was a living goddess, a nurturing mother who provided for her children. The mountains were apis, powerful spirits that watched over and protected the communities below. This belief system wasn't just abstract. It was physically manifested in everything they created. Look at the astonishing precision of their stonework. Massive, multi-ton polygonal blocks were carved to fit together with such exactitude that not even a knife blade can be inserted between them. And they achieved this without mortar, creating structures that have withstood centuries of earthquakes. This wasn't just for stability. It was a statement of harmony with the stone itself. Their temples, like the magnificent Coricancia in Cusco, were astronomical observatories. Their walls were aligned to capture the first and last rays of the sun during solstices and equinoxes, marking the passage of time and the rhythm of the agricultural calendar. Every ray of light that passed through a specific window or illuminated a sacred niche was a divine communication, a reaffirmation of their covenant with the gods. The empire was a reflection of the cosmos, a perfectly ordered human society mirroring the order of the heavens. But within this grand, sun-drenched empire, cloaked in the clouds of the high Andes, lay a profound mystery. A secret citadel, a royal sanctuary so sacred and so secluded that its existence was known only to the Sapa Inca, the emperor, and his most trusted circle of priests and nobles. For centuries after the fall of the empire, its name was whispered only in legend, a phantom city lost to time. It was a place built in defiance of gravity, an impossible city in the sky, perched on a narrow ridge between two towering peaks. This was the ultimate expression of Inca power, spirituality, and architectural genius. A place we now know as Machu Picchu. Why was it built in such an inaccessible location? Was it a royal retreat? A final bastion of defense? A sacred pilgrimage site? Or something else entirely? The Spanish conquistadors, who meticulously documented nearly every aspect of the Inca world they were dismantling, never found it. They never even mention it. It remained hidden from the outside world for over 400 years. Its stone plazas and temples slowly being reclaimed by the jungle. Its secrets guarded by the mists and the mountains. The story of Machu Picchu is the final, captivating chapter in the saga of the Inca. A puzzle carved in stone that continues to challenge and inspire us to this day. Its discovery in the 20th century opened a window back in time, allowing us to glimpse the heart of a lost world and to ask the ultimate question. What secrets does this sacred city still hold? The journey into the world of the Inca is a journey into a different way of seeing, of being, of understanding our place in the universe. It's a story of incredible achievement, deep spiritual connection, and ultimately, a tragic and sudden end. But their legacy endures, written in the stones of Cusco and the timeless majesty of Machu Picchu, a testament to a civilization that truly touched the sun. For centuries, this citadel remained a secret, hidden from the outside world. Then, in 1911, the American explorer Hiram Bingham, guided by local farmers, stumbled upon something extraordinary. He found a masterpiece of engineering and artistry, a city clinging to a mountain ridge, seemingly untouched by time. What he had rediscovered was a window into a lost civilization. But the story of Machu Picchu begins long before Bingham. It starts with the Inca Empire, a powerhouse that, at its peak, was the largest in the pre-Columbian Americas. From their capital in Cusco, the Sapa Inca, the emperor ruled over a vast and diverse territory. The Inca were master organizers, innovators, and, most importantly, builders. They connected their empire with a complex network of roads, developed sophisticated agricultural systems, and constructed architectural wonders that defy our modern understanding. And Machu Picchu was to be their crowning achievement. Picture it: a royal estate, a sacred religious site, or perhaps a secret ceremonial center. Built at nearly 8,000 feet above sea level, it was designed to be invisible from the valleys below, completely unreachable by ordinary paths. Getting there required navigating the treacherous Inca Trail, a journey reserved for the elite, the priests, and the emperor himself. Its location wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice, surrounded by the sacred Urubamba River, which coils around it like a serpent, and nestled among holy mountains, or Apus Machu Picchu was at the very heart of the Inca cosmos. It was a place where the earthly and the divine could meet. When you first lay eyes on it, the most striking feature is how the city seems to be an extension of the mountain itself. The agricultural terraces don't just sit on the slopes, they appear to grow organically out of them. These weren't just for show. This brilliant terracing system prevented soil erosion, maximized sun exposure for crops like maize, and potatoes, and created a sophisticated drainage system that has allowed Machu Picchu to withstand centuries of heavy rainfall. It was a perfect fusion of nature and human ingenuity. And then there's the stonework. This is where the mystery deepens. Each stone, some weighing over 50 tons, was cut with such mind-boggling precision that you can't fit a blade of grass between them. They interlock perfectly, like pieces of a giant, complex puzzle. And here's the kicker. The Inca achieved this without the wheel, without iron or steel tools, and without draft animals strong enough to move these colossal blocks. So, how on earth did they do it? Let's visualize the scene. We see hundreds, maybe thousands, of Inca workers using ramps, ropes made of grass, and sheer human power. They maneuvered these massive stones up the steep mountainside. It must have been an incredible display of communal effort and coordination. Archaeologists believe they used a technique called scribing and pounding. They would select a boulder, then use harder stones, like granite, to painstakingly pound and grind it into the desired shape. Think about the patience involved. It wasn't just construction. It was a form of communion with the stone, with the mountain itself. Each block was shaped to fit its specific place, creating structures so stable they have resisted centuries of earthquakes in a seismically active region. It was a feat of patience and precision that is almost beyond our comprehension. But Machu Picchu was far more than just a well-built fortress or a royal retreat. It was a cosmic observatory, a place meticulously aligned with the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. The Inca were expert astronomers, and their entire worldview was tied to the celestial cycles that governed their agricultural calendar and religious rituals. The entire layout of the city reflects this celestial connection. Let's explore some of its most sacred spaces. High up, you'll find the Temple of the Sun. This unique, semicircular building features a magnificent curved wall of perfectly fitted stones. Inside, a window is positioned with incredible accuracy. On the morning of the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the first rays of sunlight shine directly through this window, illuminating a sacred stone altar within. This event marked a crucial turning point in the Inca calendar, signaling the return of the sun and the promise of a new agricultural season. It was a moment of profound spiritual significance. Nearby, we find one of the most enigmatic features of Machu Picchu, the Intihuatana stone. The name translates to the hitching post of the sun. This single piece of granite, carved from the bedrock, points directly to the four cardinal directions. It's believed to have been a celestial clock or calendar, its corners aligning with the sun's position during the solstices. Some theories suggest that during ceremonies, priests would symbolically tie the sun to this stone, ensuring it would undisappear during the long winter months and would continue its life-giving journey across the sky. It was a tangible link, a bridge connecting the human world to the divine power of the sun. As we wander through the city, we see a clear division. The upper town, the Hanan sector, was the religious and residential area for the elite. Here you'll find the finest stonework, the temples, and the royal palace. The lower town, the Huron sector, housed the farmers, artisans, and this social structure was a mirror of the Inca cosmos, with its distinct yet interconnected realms. But for all its grandeur, the reign of Machu Picchu was short-lived. Built around 1450 during the rule of the great Inca Emperor Pachacati, it was likely inhabited for less than a century. Around the 1530s, the Spanish conquistadors arrived, bringing with them war and disease that devastated the Inca Empire. For reasons we still don't fully understand, Machu Picchu was abandoned. Was it because the supply lines were cut? Did its inhabitants flee the approaching conflict? Or did a smallpox epidemic wipe them out? The mystery remains. Perhaps the greatest irony is that its remote, hidden location, which made it so special, also became its salvation. The Spanish never found it. While they plundered and dismantled other Inca sites, Machu Picchu remained untouched, a sleeping giant waiting to be reawakened. Today, Machu Picchu stands as a powerful testament to the ingenuity, spirituality, and resilience of the Inca people. It wasn't just a home or a fortress. It was a sacred landscape, a place where humanity reached out to touch the heavens. It reminds us that there are still wonders in this world that defy easy explanation, mysteries that invite us to look deeper and to imagine the incredible achievements of those who came before us. To the Inca, this wasn't just a city of stone. It was a bridge between the human and the divine, a final, breathtaking legacy. Imagine a civilization so vast it stretched nearly 2,500 miles along the spine of the Andes. A people who built cities of stone without mortar, engineered roads through treacherous mountains, and worshipped the sun as a god. This was the Inca Empire, a realm of gold, power, and breathtaking ingenuity. At its heart, they raised a masterpiece. A city so high in the clouds it seemed to touch the heavens itself. A place we now call Machu, built around 1450. It wasn't just a city, it was a sacred retreat for the Inca Emperor Pachacati, a celestial observatory, and a testament to their harmony with nature. Every stone was perfectly carved to fit the next, every terrace sculpted into the mountainside with mathematical precision. For nearly a century, this city thrived, a vibrant center of ceremony and life, hidden from the world below. But every great story has its turning point, and for the Inca, that moment was brutal and swift. In 1532, sails appeared on the horizon. The Spanish conquistadors arrived, armed with steel, riding beasts the Inca had never seen, and carrying invisible killers. Diseases like smallpox that ravaged the population, an empire of millions, master of the Andes, was brought to its knees in a matter of years. Their capital, Cusco, once the golden navel of the world, was burned and plundered. Temples were stripped of their precious metals, sacred sites, and in the chaos of this collapse, Machu Picchu simply vanished. It was as if the jungle, sensing its moment, reached out with its green fingers and pulled the city back into its embrace. Vines crept over stone walls, mist shrouded the plazas, and silence fell upon the sacred city. For the next 400 years, it was lost to history. The Spanish, meticulous record keepers, made no mention of it. No explorer, no treasure hunter, no historian knew its name. It became a ghost, a whisper in the mountains. The world had forgotten Machu Picchu. But the mountains remembered. For centuries, local farmers living in the Urubamba Valley knew of the old ruins high above. To them, it was part of their ancestral landscape, a quiet giant sleeping under a blanket of green. The secret was kept not by lock and key, but by the sheer remoteness and the sacred respect of the people who lived in its shadow. Then, in 1911, a young Yale history professor with a thirst for adventure arrived in Peru. His name was Hiram Bingham. He wasn't searching for Machu Picchu. He was obsessed with finding Vilcabamba, the legendary last refuge of the Incas after the Spanish conquest. Following rumors and ancient tales, he was led by a local farmer, Melchor Artiga, up a steep, treacherous mountain slope. Imagine the journey, hacking through dense jungle, soaked by mist with the roar of the Urubamba River far below. After hours of climbing, they emerged onto a clearing, and there it was. Through the thick vegetation, Bingham saw it. Perfectly cut stone walls, elegant terraces climbing the mountainside, and the outlines of temples and houses, all reclaimed by nature but magnificently intact. It was a city frozen in time, untouched by the conquest that had destroyed its civilization. In his journal, Bingham later wrote, "It fairly took my breath away. What a sight it was. The walls were of a white granite, as fine as any I had ever seen in Cusco. The sight held me spellbound. He walked through silent plazas where priests once chanted, past fountains that no longer flowed, and stood in temples open to the sky, feeling the profound weight of a lost world. Bingham was convinced he had founded Vilcabamba, the lost city of the Inca resistance. He announced his discovery to the world, and the name Machu Picchu burst into global consciousness. Photos of the vine-choked ruins captivated the public imagination. Expeditions were launched, and archaeologists began the painstaking work of clearing the jungle and uncovering the city's secrets. They revealed a marvel of urban planning. A residential sector, an agricultural zone with its iconic terraces, and a sacred district with the Temple of the Sun, the Intihuatana Stone, and the Temple of the Three Windows. Each structure was aligned with astronomical events, the solstitius, and proving the Inca were not just master builders, but brilliant astronomers. The city was clearly a place of immense spiritual and ceremonial importance. But here's the twist in the tale. As archaeologists studied the site and cross-referenced it with Spanish chronicles, a new truth emerged. The location, the architecture, the evidence, it didn't match the descriptions of Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba was a jungle fortress, a base for guerrilla warfare. Machu Picchu was something else entirely. A pristine, Huiltatooth royal estate, a spiritual sanctuary. Bingham, in his quest for one lost city, had accidentally stumbled upon another, one far more mysterious because it was never mentioned at all. He had rediscovered a sacred place that the Inca had abandoned and hidden so effectively that their conquerors never even knew it existed. Why did they leave? Was it the encroaching war, the outbreak of disease? We still don't know for sure. The city keeps its secrets close. Today, Machu Picchu is no longer lost. It is one of the new 7 wonders of the world, visited by over 1 million people each year. We see it in stunning high definition, drones soaring over its restored grandeur. Yet, even with all the tourists and all the research, the mystery remains. Walking through its stone corridors, you can still feel it's that sense of awe that struck Hiram Bingham over a century ago. You can almost hear the whispers of the past on the mountain wind. Machu Picchu isn't just a ruin, it's a survivor. It is a testament to the genius of a fallen empire, and a powerful reminder that some places are so special, so sacred, that not even the passage of time or the fall of a civilization can erase them. They simply wait, patiently, in the clouds, for us to find them again. High in the Andes, where the clouds kiss the mountaintops, a civilization was born from myth and sunlight. Long before the first European ships dared to cross the vast oceans, a mighty empire rose, stretching thousands of miles along the spine of South America. They called themselves the Children of the Sun, the Inca, and their world was a masterpiece of engineering, artistry, and cosmic understanding. Their story begins not with conquest, but with a divine mission. According to legend, the sun god Inti looked down upon the earth and saw a world in disarray. He sent his son, Manco Capac, and his daughter, Mama Huclo, to bring order and civilization to humanity. They emerged from the sacred waters of Lake Titicaca, carrying a golden staff. Their father's instruction was simple: travel until the staff sinks effortlessly into the earth. There, they would establish their capital. After a long journey through breathtaking valleys and over formidable peaks, they reached a fertile plain. As Manco Capac tested the ground, the golden staff vanished into the rich soil. This was the sign. They had found the chosen place, the Cusco, which in their language meant the navel of the world. Today, we know it as Cusco. From this divine city, the Inca began to build one of the most sophisticated empires in history. It wasn't just an empire of land, but an empire of ideas. They were master architects, constructing roads that rivaled those of Rome, spanning deserts, jungles, and the highest mountain passes. They were brilliant agriculturalists, carving vast terraces, or andines, into the sheer faces of mountains, creating microclimates to grow a stunning variety of crops. Their society was a complex tapestry woven together by a system of reciprocal labor and a deep reverence for the natural world. They had no written language as we know it, yet they kept intricate records using a system of knotted cords called quipus, a code we are still struggling to fully decipher. Every mountain peak, every river, every stone was imbued with a sacred spirit, a waka. They lived in a constant dialogue with the cosmos. But of all their incredible achievements, one site continues to capture the imagination of the entire world. A place that defies explanation even today. A city in the clouds, hidden for centuries from the outside world. Machu Picchu. Over a century after its rediscovery, Machu Picchu remains an enigma, wrapped in mist and mystery. Why was it built in such an impossibly remote location, perched on a narrow ridge 8,000 feet above the Urubamba River? What purpose did this breathtaking citadel serve? Was it a secluded royal retreat for the great Emperor Pachacati? A place to escape the pressures of ruling a vast empire? The exquisite stonework and luxurious dwellings certainly suggest a place of high importance. Or was it a sacred temple complex, a university for astronomers and priests, a place dedicated to observing the sun, the moon, and the stars? Then there are the more profound theories. Some researchers, looking at the site's precise astronomical alignments, believe it was a spiritual gateway, a portal to the realm of the gods. They argue that the entire complex was designed to channel cosmic energy, connecting the earthly plane with the celestial one. Modern investigations have only deepened the mystery. Researchers have uncovered underground tunnels snaking beneath the city, their purpose unknown. They've found curious traces of what some interpret as a form of ancient electricity within the stones, leading to wild speculation. Others see coded messages carved into the granite, complex mathematical patterns that seem to mirror the constellations of the Milky Way. The Incas have possessed a knowledge of the cosmos that we have long since forgotten. As one expert puts it, they believed everything was connected. The sky, the earth, the people, the gods. Machu Picchu is not just stone, it's a map of the universe. Every wall, every window, every ceremonial rock was placed with intention, aligning with solstices, equinoxes, and sacred mountain peaks. It was a living calendar, a celestial observatory, and a place of profound spiritual power, all carved from a single mountain. The Inca believed they were the center of a living, breathing cosmos. Their empire, Tawantinsuyu, or the four regions together, was a physical representation of this cosmic order. The capital Cusco was its heart, and from it, four great roads extended to the four corners of their world. This wasn't just geography, it was cosmology made real. This worldview influenced every aspect of their lives. They mastered high-altitude agriculture, not just to feed their people, but as a way to collaborate with Pachamama, or Mother Earth. They built their incredible road network, not just for trade and military movements, but to connect sacred sites, creating a web of spiritual energy that crisscrossed the empire. Their understanding of astronomy was so advanced that they could predict celestial events with stunning accuracy. Their ceremonies and rituals were timed to these cosmic cycles, ensuring harmony between the human world and the divine. They saw the Milky Way, which they called Mayu, or the Celestial River, as a counterpart to the rivers on Earth. The dark constellations within it, like the Llama and the Fox, were just as important as the bright stars. This intricate dance between the physical and the spiritual, the practical and the mystical, is the true legacy of the Inca. They didn't just build an empire, they built a worldview, a way of living in balance with the universe. And nowhere is this more evident than in the silent, majestic stones of Machu Picchu. It stands as a timeless testament to a people who saw no separation between earth and sky, and who managed, for a fleeting moment in history, to build a bridge between them. The story of the Inca is a powerful reminder of what humanity can achieve when it works in harmony with nature and in awe of the cosmos. Their empire may have fallen, but their spirit endures, etched into the mountains of the Andes, and whispering on the winds that sweep through Machu Picchu. We are going to explore the story of one of history's greatest enigmas, the lost city of Machu Picchu. Imagine an empire so advanced, so powerful, that it dominated a continent. From the early 1400s, the Inca civilization flourished, They were master engineers, skilled astronomers, and brilliant administrators. From their magnificent capital, Cusco, they ruled over 12 million people, connected by a network of roads stretching over 25,000 miles. They built cities that defied gravity, terraced mountainsides to feed their people, and worshipped the sun, the moon, and the mountains as gods. Their empire was a marvel of human achievement, a testament to what a society in harmony with its environment could create. For a century, the Inca were unstoppable, their golden age seemingly eternal. But every empire, no matter how mighty, eventually meets its shadow. In 1532, the world of the Inca was shattered forever. Spanish conquistadors, led by Francisco Pizarro, arrived on their shores. They brought with them not just steel swords and firearms, but invisible killers, diseases like smallpox, to which the Inca had no immunity. It was a clash of worlds, a collision of ambition and tradition. Within just a few years, the once invincible Inca Empire, weakened by internal conflict and decimated by plague, crumbled. Cusco, the heart of their civilization, was captured and burned. Their temples were looted, their sacred objects melted down, and their way of life systematically dismantled. And amidst this chaos and destruction, one of their greatest treasures simply vanished. Machu Picchu, a city built on a mountain ridge, 8,000 feet above sea level, disappeared from history. It was as if the jungle itself had conspired to keep it a secret. No Spanish record mentioned its existence. No historian or explorer spoke its name. For nearly 400 years, it remained a ghost, a forgotten masterpiece hidden beneath a blanket of vines and mist, waiting patiently in the clouds. It was a secret kept not just from the conquerors, but from the entire world. How could a city so magnificent be so completely erased from memory? That question would haunt the Andes for centuries. Then, in 1911, the silence was broken. An American academic and explorer from Yale University, Hiram Bingham, was trekking through the Urubamba Valley. He wasn't searching for Machu Picchu. He didn't even know it existed. He was looking for Vilcabamba, the last refuge of the Inca resistance. Guided by a local farmer, Melchor Arteaga Bingham was led up a steep, treacherous mountain slope. He pushed through dense jungle, crawling over rocks and undergrowth, until he emerged into a clearing. And there, what he saw took his breath away. Before him was a city of ghosts, stone walls of impossible precision, elegant temples, and cascading agricultural terraces, all reclaimed by nature but miraculously intact. It was a silent testament to a forgotten age. In his journal, Bingham wrote, "The sight took my breath away. It seemed like an unbelievable dream. The walls, the terraces, the temples all seemed to whisper, 'We are eternal.'" He had stumbled upon a city untouched by the Spanish, a time capsule preserved in the Andean sky. Bingham was convinced he had found the lost city of Vilcabamba. He announced his discovery to the world, and the stunning black and white photographs he took captivated everyone. But here's the twist. He was wrong. Later archaeological work would reveal that Vilcabamba was located elsewhere, deeper in the jungle. What Bingham had actually rediscovered was something far more mysterious, a place whose true purpose remains a puzzle to this day. He had found a sacred city that the Inca had hidden so perfectly. Not even the conquerors who erased their empire could find it. So, more than a century after its rediscovery, the fundamental question remains, what asterisk? Was asterisk Machu Picchu? Why build a city in such an impossibly remote and difficult location? The sheer effort required is staggering. Every single one of the thousands of granite stones, some weighing over 50 tons, had to be quarried and moved up the mountain without the use of wheels or draft animals. The theories are as numerous as the stones themselves. Was it a royal estate? A secluded retreat for the great Inca Emperor Pachacati and his court? A place to escape the politics of Cusco and commune with the gods in a setting of unparalleled natural beauty? This is the most widely accepted theory. The site contains what appears to be a royal residence, quarters for staff, and ceremonial areas, suggesting a seasonal, elite population. Imagine the emperor, revered as a living god, looking out from his palace as the sun rises over the sacred peaks. Or perhaps it was primarily a religious and ceremonial center. Researchers have discovered incredible astronomical alignments throughout the city. The Torian, or Temple of the Sun, has a window that perfectly frames the rising sun during the June solstice. The Intihuatana stone, a masterfully carved pillar, is believed to have been an astronomical clock or calendar, tracking the movements of the sun and marking key ceremonial dates for planting and harvesting. Was Machu Picchu a giant observatory, a place where priest astronomers deciphered the language of the cosmos? But other, more radical ideas persist. Some researchers point to strange anomalies. They've found evidence of sophisticated water management systems, and some even claim to have detected traces of unusual energy fields around certain stones, suggesting a knowledge we can't comprehend. There are theories that see coded messages in the very layout of the city, mathematical patterns and geometric arrangements that mirror the constellations of the Milky Way. Could the Inca have possessed a secret understanding of the universe? A form of sacred science that we've long since forgotten? And what about its abandonment? Why did the Inca leave this magnificent city? It wasn't destroyed by the Spanish. There's no evidence of a battle. The most likely explanation is that as the empire collapsed under the Spanish invasion, the complex supply lines needed to sustain Machu Picchu were cut off. Its inhabitants simply walked away, melting back into the mountains and leaving the city to be swallowed by the jungle. It was an orderly retreat, a final, silent act of preservation. Today, as you watch the clouds drift over these iconic peaks and the sun glint off the ancient stones, the feeling of wonder is overwhelming. Machu Picchu isn't just a collection of ruins, it's a living mystery. It defies easy answers. It invites us to question what we think we know about the past and about the limits of human potential. Was it a palace, a temple, or something more? A gateway to another realm, a map of the stars carved in stone, or simply the most beautiful mountain retreat ever conceived? Perhaps the true secret of Machu Picchu is that it is all of these things and more. It is a symbol of a lost world, a masterpiece of engineering, a sacred space that continues to connect the earth to the sky. It reminds us that, even after empires fall and centuries pass, some things' beauty, ingenuity, and mystery are eternal. High in the Peruvian Andes, where clouds wrap around jagged peaks and ancient stones seem to whisper with the very breath of the earth, there lies a place untouched by time, Machu Picchu. As the sun rises through a silver fog, it illuminates terraces carved with what can only be described as divine precision. Stone walls, weathered but unbroken, cling to the mountain's heart like a living organism. To the untrained eye, it might look like just a ruin, but to the Inca, it was the center of their universe. But who built this masterpiece of stone? Why was it hidden from the world for so long? And for whom was it intended? What secrets lie buried beneath its foundations? And what knowledge did its creators possess that we, with all our modern technology, still struggle to explain? This isn't just the story of a city, it's the story of a people who seemed to touch the heavens and then vanished. Centuries before Machu Picchu was even a dream, the Inca people thrived among these mountains. They were farmers, shepherds, and warriors, all guided by the sun, whom they called Inca. Their legends speak of a lake at the world's edge, Lake Titicaca, where the gods themselves emerged from the waters to create the very first Inca king. Manco Capac, he carried a golden staff and a divine mission to build an empire where the sun would forever shine upon his people. The gods instructed him that wherever his staff sank effortlessly into the ground, that was the place to build his capital. He traveled through treacherous mountains and fertile valleys until, finally, the staff disappeared completely into the soil of a sacred valley. There, he founded Cusco, the navel of the world. From that city, the Inca began their incredible rise. They didn't just conquer through war, but through unity, engineering, and a profound sense of purpose. They built an astonishing network of roads, practiced skilled diplomacy, and offered a place within their divine order. Every tribe they absorbed became part of something much greater, the Empire of the Sun. As an Inca priest might have said, the sun gives life to all. He sees everything. He is our father, and we are his children. The heart of the Inca Empire was not just Cusco, but the emperor himself, Tezcatlipoca Inca. He wasn't just a king, he was considered a living god, a direct descendant of the sun god Inti. He was adorned in gold and feathers, carried on a magnificent golden litter, and his every word was law. To his people, his rule was absolute, not out of fear, but out of faith. The Inca Empire, known as Tawantinsuyo, or the Land of the Four Quarters, was a marvel of organization. It stretched for thousands of miles along the Andes, from modern-day Colombia down to Chile. To manage this vast territory, the Inca created a system that rivals the Romans. They built over 25,000 miles of roads, complete with suspension bridges woven from grass that connected every corner of their empire. Messages were carried across this network by elite runners called chusqui. These messengers operated in a relay system, able to transport information and even fresh fish from the coast up to the emperor in the mountains in just a couple of days. Imagine a message traveling over 150 miles in a single day, all without a single wheeled vehicle. Their society was built on a principle called Ani, or reciprocity. Everyone was expected to contribute labor to the state, building roads, farming on terraces, or constructing temples. In return, the state provided for everyone, ensuring no one went hungry or homeless. It was a form of collective effort and social security that held their massive empire together. But the Inca's true genius is written in stone. Without iron tools, wheels, or even written language as we know it, they became master stonemasons. They could cut and fit enormous multi-ton blocks of granite so perfectly that not even a knife blade can slide between them today. How did they achieve this level of precision? The answer remains one of history's great. Some theories suggest they used a slow process of scribing and pounding with smaller stones, but the sheer scale and perfection of their work still boggle the mind. This brings us to the mid-15th century and the reign of one of the greatest Inca emperors, Pachacuti. His name means he who remakes the world, and he lived up to it. Pachacuti transformed the kingdom of Cusco into the sprawling empire we know today. It was under his visionary leadership that the construction of Machu Picchu is believed to have begun. Perched at nearly 8,000 feet above sea level, Machu Picchu is not just a fortress or a city. It was a sacred royal estate, a spiritual retreat for the emperor and his court. Its location was chosen with incredible care. It's surrounded by the sacred Urubamba River, which coils around it like a protective serpent, and it's aligned with holy mountains, or apis, which the Inca believed were spirits that watched over them. The site is divided into two main sectors: the agricultural area with its sweeping terraces, and the urban area, home to temples, plazas, and royal residences. The terraces weren't just for decoration. They were an agricultural marvel. They created microclimates, prevented erosion, and allowed the Inca to grow crops at an altitude where it should have been impossible. An intricate system of channels and fountains, fed by a natural spring, supplied fresh water to the entire city. The most sacred structures are found in the upper town. The Temple of the Sun, a magnificent semicircular tower, was built around a large natural rock. During the June solstice, the rising sun shines directly through one of its windows, perfectly illuminating the sacred stone inside, a testament to their advanced understanding of astronomy. Then there is the Intihuatana stone, the hitching post of the sun. This mysterious, carved pillar was designed to be an astronomical clock or a calendar. At the spring and autumn equinoxes, the sun stands directly over the pillar, casting no shadow at all. It was believed that at these moments, the stone held the sun in its place, ensuring its return for the next season. It was a physical link between the heavens and the earth. For less than 100 years, this celestial sanctuary thrived. It was a place of ceremony, astronomy, and communion with the gods. But then, in 1532, everything changed. From across the ocean came strangers, the Spanish conquistadors, led by Francisco Pizarro. They brought with them steel weapons, horses, and something far deadlier: diseases like smallpox, to which the Inca had no immunity. A brutal civil war for the Inca throne had already weakened the empire, making it vulnerable. The Spanish captured the Sepa Inca, Atahualpa, and despite the Inca paying a ransom of a room filled with gold and twice over with silver, the conquistadors executed him. The head of the empire was gone, and with its living god dead, the empire began to crumble. The Spanish swept through Inca lands, plundering cities like Cusco for their immense wealth of gold and silver. But strangely, they never found Machu Picchu, hidden by its remote location and dense vegetation. The sacred site was spared from destruction. But why was it abandoned? The most likely theory is that with the collapse of the empire and the supply lines cut, it was simply no longer sustainable to keep a royal estate running in such a remote location. Its inhabitants likely left to join the resistance, or simply melted back into the valleys. And so, Machu Picchu was left to the jungle, its existence fading from memory into legend. For almost 400 years, it remained hidden from the outside world. Local farmers knew of the lost city, but its story was kept within their communities. It was empty until 1911 that an American explorer and historian named Hiram Bingham was led to the site by a local guide. What he saw defied belief. He had stumbled upon a perfectly preserved Inca city, a window into a lost world. Bingham's discovery brought Machu Picchu to global attention, and the slow, careful work of uncovering it from the jungle began. Today, it stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world, visited by over 1 million people each year. But even now, its secrets are not all revealed. We still don't know exactly what every building was used for. We still marvel at their stonework, unable to definitively replicate it. And we still feel the powerful spiritual energy of a place built to be closer to the gods. Machu Picchu is more than just a beautiful ruin. It is a symbol of the ingenuity and spirit of the Inca people. It's a reminder that even the greatest empires can fall, but that some legacies, written in stone and aligned with the stars, can endure forever. It asks us to look up at the mountains and the sun, and to wonder about the people who understood their connection to the cosmos in a way we are still trying to grasp. For generations, the Inca people had been expanding their influence, their dominion stretching across some of the most challenging landscapes on Earth. They were masters of the mountains, builders of roads that defied gravity, and stewards of a civilization that bloomed in the thin, high-altitude air. But their story was just beginning. One ruler would soon rise, a man whose ambition was as vast as the sky itself. A leader who would not just conquer lands, but reshape the world in his image. His name was Pachacuti the Earthshaker, and he was about to usher in the golden age of the Inca Empire, transitioned to a more focused, dramatic tone. Imagery of ancient Inca, stonework, intricate textiles, and golden artifacts. Pachacuti wasn't just a king. He was a visionary, an architect of destiny. To him, the world wasn't just a collection of territories to be conquered. It was a canvas of sacred geometry. He saw the patterns in the stars, the flow of the rivers, and the rise of the mountains as divine messages. He believed that by aligning his empire with these cosmic forces, he could create something eternal. He saw his people not merely as subjects, but as participants in a grand cosmic dance. This philosophy would guide every decision he made, from the laws he enacted to the cities he would build. And one city, in particular, would become the ultimate expression of his divine vision. Scene shifts to a reenactment or animation. Pachacuti, portrayed as a powerful and thoughtful leader, stands on a high cliff, overlooking the stunning Urubamba Valley. The wind whips his cloak around him. The legends surrounding Pachacuti are as epic as the empire he built. One of the most powerful stories tells of a moment that changed everything. During a fierce and pivotal battle, his forces were overwhelmed, surrounded by the enemy. Defeat seemed certain. But then, as the story goes, a miracle occurred. A brilliant, divine light burst forth from Inti, the sun god. It blazed across the battlefield, blinding Pachacuti's foes and throwing them into chaos. Seizing the moment, Pachacuti and his warriors rallied, turning the tide and securing a legendary victory. This was more than just a military triumph. It was a sin, a divine and soft, ethereal music begins. The visual style becomes dreamlike, with clouds swirling across mountain peaks, light filtering through the mist. That very night, as Pachacuti slept, the gods visited him again. He dreamed of a city unlike any other, a sanctuary floating above the clouds, nestled between the heavens and the earth. It was a place of profound peace, a celestial citadel where mortals and deities could walk together. This wasn't a fortress for war, but a haven for worship, a nexus of cosmic energy. When Ea woke, the vision was burned into his soul. It was no longer a dream. It was a divine command. He knew he had to build it. He had to make this ethereal city a reality. The music swells slightly. We see maps being unrolled, expeditions setting out into rugged, uncharted territory. The visuals emphasize the immense difficulty of the search. Bachekades summoned his most brilliant architects and wisest priests. He gave them a near-impossible task: find the location from his dream. It had to be a place hidden from the world, a secret sanctuary so remote and inaccessible that no enemy army could ever hope to find it, let alone conquer it. It had to be a place so spiritually pure that only the chosen, the most devout, could be worthy of entering its sacred grounds. For years, his search parties ventured into the formidable wilderness of the Andes, battling treacherous terrain and the unforgiving elements. Camera soars dramatically through the mountains, following the path of a gliding condor. The lush green peaks of the Andes are wrapped in a mystical mist. The music reaches a crescendo of discovery, and then, after an exhaustive search, they found it. A majestic, razor-thin ridge, Peth said nearly 8,000 feet above sea level, flanked by two sacred mountain peaks, the elder, Machu Picchu, and the younger, Huayna Picchu. This was it, the place from the vision, the saddle between two gods. It was here, on this breathtaking and perilous perch, that Bachekades ordered the impossible to be built. He commanded the construction of a city that would not be built asterisk upon asterisk, the land, but would grow asterisk from asterisk it. A masterpiece of engineering built in perfect, sacred harmony with the living mountain. Close-ups on the intricate stonework of Machu Picchu show how the stones fit perfectly together, how the buildings align with solar events. The construction of Machu Picchu is one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements. The Inca had no iron tools, no wheels, and no draft animals to haul the massive granite blocks, some weighing over 50 tons. How did they do it? They were masters of stone, shaping and fitting these colossal rocks together with such precision that not even a knife blade can fit between them today. This wasn't just construction, it was a form of prayer in stone. Every temple, every terrace, every water channel was meticulously designed to align with the solstices, the equinoxes, and the sacred peaks surrounding them. Time-lapse animation showing the city being built. Focus on the agricultural terraces. They didn't just build a city, they built a self-sustaining ecosystem. They carved thousands of agricultural terraces, or andines, into the mountainside. These weren't just for farming. They were an ingenious solution to prevent erosion and landslides on the steep slopes. They created a complex system of channels and fountains to bring fresh spring water into the heart of the city, a system that still functions today. Machu Picchu was a marvel of sustainable design, a testament to the Incas' profound understanding of their environment. It was a city that breathed with the mountain it called home, returned to sweeping, beautiful shots of the modern-day site at sunrise. The mood is one of wonder and reverence. For nearly a century, Machu Picchu served as this sacred royal estate, a place for ceremony, astronomical observation, and spiritual retreat for the Inca elite. It was a vibrant center of life, hidden from the rest of the world. But when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, the Inca Empire began to crumble. Yet, remarkably, the Spanish never found Machu Picchu. Its isolation, its greatest strategic feature, became its salvation. The city was slowly and mysteriously abandoned, its purpose lost to time, and for over 400 years, the jungle reclaimed it, shrouding it in a green blanket of forgetting. Footage of Hiram Bingham's expedition in 1911, followed by shots of the site being cleared and revealed to the world. It remained a local secret, known only to a few farmers living in the valley below, until 1911. That year, an American historian and explorer named Hiram Bingham was led up the mountainside by a local guide and was confronted with the breathtaking sight of the lost city emerging from the jungle. The world was stunned. Bachekades' dream, once lost to history, was revealed once more. Today, Today, Machu Picchu stands as a powerful symbol of the Incas' ingenuity and their deep spiritual connection to the natural world. It is more than a ruin. It is a living monument to a vision, a testament to an earthshaker who dared to build a city in the clouds. High in the Peruvian Andes, where clouds weave around, jagged peaks and ancient stones whisper with the breath of the earth. There lies a place, untouched by time. As the sun rises through silver fog, it illuminates terraces carved with what seems like divine precision. Stone walls, weathered but unbroken, cling to the mountain's heart like a living organism. To the untrained eye, it might just be a ruin. But to the Inca, it was something far more profound, perhaps the very center of their universe. Who were the people who built this masterpiece of stone? Why was it hidden for so long? And for whom? What secrets lie beneath its foundations? And what knowledge did its creators possess that we, with all our modern tools, still struggle to explain? This isn't just the story of a city. It is the story of a people who touched the heavens and then, seemingly, vanished. Our story begins centuries before Machu Picchu was even dreamed of. The Inca people lived among these same mountains, farmers, shepherds, warriors, guided by the sun, whom they called Indi. Their legends tell of a sacred lake at the world's edge, Lake Titicaca, where the gods themselves emerged from the waters to create the very first Inca king. Manco he carried a golden staff and a divine mission to find the perfect spot to build an empire, a place where the sun would forever shine upon his people. His quest was simple. Wherever his golden staff sank effortlessly into the ground, that was the sacred place. He traveled through mountains and valleys until, finally, in a breathtakingly fertile valley, the staff disappeared completely into the rich soil. There, he founded the city of Cusco, the navel of the world. From this sacred center, the Inca began to rise. They built their empire not just through conquest, but through something far more powerful: unity. They connected their vast domain with incredible roads. They used diplomacy, and they shared a divine purpose. Every tribe they absorbed became part of something greater, the Empire of the Sun. As an Inca priest might have said, the sun gives life to all. He sees everything. He is our father, and we are his children. The Inca expanded their dominion across deserts, jungles, and snow-capped mountains. But one ruler would dream higher than any before him. His name was Pachacati, which means the Earthshaker. Under his rule, the empire reached its golden age. He wasn't just a king. He was an architect of destiny, a visionary who saw the earth as a form of sacred geometry. According to legend, Pachacati experienced a profound vision during a critical battle. Just as the enemy was about to overwhelm him, a divine light descended from the sun, blinding his foes and granting him a miraculous victory. That night, he dreamed of a city built above the clouds, a place of eternal peace where gods and humans could meet. This vision would become his life's greatest obsession. And so, Pachacati began the most ambitious project the Americas had ever seen. He chose a remote, inaccessible mountain ridge, a place that seemed to float between earth and sky. Here, his architects and engineers would defy gravity. They moved massive stones, some weighing over 50 tons, up steep mountainsides without the use of wheels or iron tools. How did they do it? The question still baffles engineers today. They fitted these colossal stones together with such precision that not even a knife blade can fit between them. This wasn't just construction, it was a conversation with the mountain itself. Machu Picchu wasn't just a fortress or a simple city. It was a perfectly designed cosmic clock. The Intihuatana stone, the hitching post of the sun, aligns perfectly with the solstices, marking the changing seasons for planting and harvesting. The Temple of the Sun is built with a curved wall and a window that captures the first rays of the winter solstice. Sun with pinpoint accuracy. Every structure, every window, every doorway was aligned with the sacred mountains, the stars, and the sun. For the Inca, this place was a spiritual and astronomical sanctuary, a place to honor the gods and understand the cosmos. So, who lived in this incredible sky sea? It wasn't a bustling metropolis like Cusco. Archaeologists believe it was a royal estate for Pachacati and his court, a spiritual retreat for the elite priests, astronomers, and the Inca nobility. Here, they could perform sacred ceremonies, study the stars, and feel closer to their creator gods, far from the noise of the empire below. It was a place of immense spiritual power, but the golden age of the Inca was tragically brief. Less than a century after Pachacuti built his masterpiece in the sky, a threat emerged from across the sea. In 1532, Spanish conquistadors, led by Francisco Pizarro, arrived in Peru. With them, they brought steel, horses, and diseases to which the Inca had no immunity. The empire, already weakened by a brutal civil war between two royal brothers, began to crumble. The Spanish conquered Cusco and systematically dismantled the Inca way of life. They were driven by a thirst for gold, melting down priceless artifacts and destroying sacred sites. Yet, somehow, they never found Machu Picchu, hidden by its remote location and the dense jungle that quickly grew to conceal it. The city remained a secret, lost to the outside world. Its inhabitants eventually abandoned it. But why? Was it due to the collapse of the empire, a lack of resources, or some other unknown reason? The city simply fell silent, its purpose forgotten, its existence known only to a few local communities living in the valley below. For nearly 400 years, Machu Picchu slept under a blanket of green. Legends of a lost city in the Andes circulated among treasure hunters, but no one could find it. Then, in 1911, a young American historian and explorer named Hiram Bingham was led up the mountainside by a local farmer. What he saw that day would change history. Pushing through the thick vegetation, he uncovered the stone walls, the terraces, the temples, and an entire city, perfectly preserved, just as the Inca had left it. Bingham called it the lost city of the Inca, and his discovery captivated the world. But was it truly lost? For the local Quechua people, the descendants of the Inca, it was never lost. It was simply waiting for the world to be ready to see it not as a ruin, but as a testament to the genius of their ancestors. Today, Machu Picchu is one of the new 7 wonders of the world, visited by millions who come to walk its stone paths and feel its mystical energy. But even now, it holds its secrets close. We still don't know the full story of its purpose or why it was abandoned. We can only stand in awe of the people who built it. A civilization that could move mountains, map the stars, and create a city in the clouds that continues to inspire and mystify us all. It reminds us that there are still wonders in this world that defy simple explanation. Places that connect us to the deep and ancient past. Have you ever heard of a place built, not for man, but for the gods? A city so perfectly hidden that for centuries, it was just a myth whispered on the wind. This is the story of Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Inca. Our story begins in the 15th century, with the great Inca Emperor. He was a visionary, a conqueror who had expanded his empire to stretch thousands of miles along the Andes. But he sought something more than just land. He yearned for a sacred sanctuary, a place untouched by war, a connection to the heavens themselves. He commanded his architects to find a place that no enemy could ever reach, a place so sacred that only the purest souls could enter. After years of searching, they found it. A breathtaking ridge nestled between 2 sacred mountains, Machu Picchu and Huayna Peak, a place where the clouds kissed the peaks and condors soared through the mists. Here, surrounded by the overwhelming power of nature, Pachacuti ordered the impossible. A city built not asterisk upon asterisk the land, but in perfect harmony asterisk with asterisk it. But how? The Inca had no iron tools, no wheels, and no large animals to pull heavy loads. Yet, they constructed a masterpiece that continues to baffle engineers today. Think about this. Massive granite stones, some weighing over 50 tons heavier than 7 adult elephants, were quarried from miles away. They were then dragged up steep, treacherous mountain slopes by the sheer force of human will. Imagine the scene. Hundreds of men, their muscles straining, pulling thick ropes, inching these colossal blocks up earthen ramps. They didn't have modern machinery, but they had an incredible understanding of physics, using levers and rollers, guided by a system of sound and vibration. The rhythm of drums would have echoed through the valley, a heartbeat for the monumental effort. The precision is what truly defies belief. Archaeologists still marvel at it. The cuts are so perfect, so exact, that you can't even slide a knife blade between the stones. There's no mortars holding them together. Instead, they used a technique called ashlar masonry. Each stone was meticulously carved to fit with the next, like a giant, three-dimensional puzzle. This intricate design made the walls flexible, allowing them to dance with the earth during seismic shifts. It's why Machu Picchu has withstood nearly 6 centuries of earthquakes, while modern buildings in the same region have crumbled. It wasn't just construction, it was artistry. It was a testament to their patience, their skill, and their unshakable faith. But Machu Picchu was far more than just a feat of engineering. It was a city of spirit, a living, breathing monument. Pachacati envisioned it as a sacred dialogue between humankind and the cosmos. The temples were designed to align perfectly with the solstices and constellations. The Intihuatana stone, the hitching post of the sun, was carved to track the sun's path across the sky, marking sacred festivals and planting seasons. The agricultural terraces, which cascade down the mountainside like a giant green staircase, weren't just for growing food. They were sculpted to follow the natural curves of the earth, preventing erosion and creating microclimates. Water channels were engineered to flow through the city, their gentle murmur designed to sound like the mountain's own heartbeat, bringing life and purity to every corner of the sanctuary. Pachacati believed, as all Inca did, that the heavens were a mirror of the earth. What was built below had to echo what shone above. The winding Urubamba River that snakes around the base of the mountain was seen as the earthly reflection of the Milky Way, the celestial river they called Mayu. The entire city was laid out to mirror the constellations, connecting the earthly realm to the divine. To the Inca, Machu Picchu wasn't just a royal estate or a fortress. It was the center of divine balance, a cosmic axis, the bridge between the world of the living and the world of the gods. For nearly a century, this sacred city thrived. It was a place of ceremony, of astronomical observation, and a deep spiritual connection. But then, as quickly as it rose, it fell silent. The arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the 1530s plunged the Inca Empire into chaos and war. Disease and conflict spread like wildfire through the Andes. In the face of this apocalypse, the priests and priestesses of Machu Picchu made a decision. They would not let their most sacred place be defiled. They gathered their holy artifacts, performed their final rituals, and then they vanished. The inhabitants abandoned the city, melting back into the jungle, taking its secrets with them. They left no written record of its location, no map to its gates. And so, the jungle began its slow, relentless reclamation. Vines crawled over the perfectly cut stones. Roots pushed through the plazas. Trees grew in the temples. For nearly 400 years, the world completely forgot that Machu Picchu ever existed. It became a ghost, a lost city of legends spoken of only in whispers by the local Quechua people who lived in its shadow. These locals told tales of hidden tunnels filled with lost Inca gold, of the curse of the mountains that protected the site, and of a city of white stone sleeping beneath a blanket of green. But to the outside world, it was just a myth. That is, until 1911. A young American explorer and historian from Yale University named Hiram Bingham arrived in Peru. He was obsessed with finding the last refuge of the Inca. Guided by a local farmer, Bingham hacked his way through the dense, unforgiving jungle, climbing the steep slopes of the mountain. Imagine his astonishment. After days of grueling travel, he pushed aside a curtain of thick vines, and there it was. Not a ruin, but an entire city, almost perfectly preserved, emerging from the clouds. The terraces, the temples, the houses, all silent, all waiting. In that moment, Hiram Bingham reintroduced the lost city to the world, but the rediscovery of Machu Picchu was only the beginning of its mystery. So many questions remain. Was it truly just a royal retreat, or was it a university for astronomy? A convent for sacred priestesses? Or the final, hidden capital of a dying empire? The secrets of the stones are not easily given up. Today, when you stand there, looking out over the same view that Pachacati saw, you can feel it. It's more than just a tourist destination. It's a place of immense power and profound peace. You can feel the echoes of the past, the whispers of the priests, the heartbeat of the mountain. Machu Picchu reminds us that some things are built to last, not with iron and steel, but with spirit and harmony. It's a testament to what humanity can achieve when we work in concert with nature, reaching for the stars. It is, and always will be, a bridge to the divine. For nearly a century, this civilization thrived, a testament to human ingenuity and order. Imagine a land stretching for thousands of miles, from the peaks of the mountains to the shores of the Pacific, all connected by an incredible network of roads. Along these paths, swift-footed messengers, the asterisk, Chasqui asterisk, ran day and night, carrying not just news, but fresh fish from the coast to the emperor's table in the highlands, ensuring that every corner of this vast domain was united. This wasn't an empire built on chaos, but on harmony. The Inca worldview was one of balance, a sacred contract between humanity and the cosmos. They worshipped the sun god Inti and believed their emperor, the Sapa Inca, was his living embodiment on Earth. Their cities, like the breathtaking Machu Picchu, were feats of engineering, with massive stones cut so precisely they fit together without a drop of mortar, standing strong against the ravages of time. It was a world of profound faith, strict order, and an unwavering belief in the divine will of the sun. They built a society that, for a time, seemed invincible, a shining example of what a unified people could achieve. But even as the Inca were honoring their gods and building their monuments, the shadow was silently creeping across the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. It was a shadow that took the form of ships, their sails billowing in the wind. A shadow wearing polished iron armor and carrying weapons that spat thunder and fire. In the year 1532, these strangers made landfall. They were pale men with thick beards, their eyes glinting with a hunger that the Inca had never encountered before. They brought with them not just steel swords and primitive firearms, but also horseless creatures the people of the Andes had never seen, which seemed like terrifying beasts from another world. The leader of this small, determined band was a man named Francisco P. He was a figure forged in the crucible of conquest, a man of boundless ambition and an insatiable greed. Years before, he had heard whispers, tantalizing legends of a city in the mountains made entirely of gold, a place called El Dorado. For Pizarro, the Inca weren't the divine builders of a sophisticated civilization. They were merely the keepers of a treasure he was determined to claim. The world of the Inca, a world that had stood for 100 years, was about to change forever. As Pizarro and his men began their audacious march inland, they discovered that the empire they intended to conquer was already tearing itself apart. The Inca were embroiled in a brutal and devastating civil war. The previous emperor had died, leaving two of his sons, the half-brothers Atahualpa and Huáscar, to vie for the throne. It was a conflict that split the empire down the middle. Brother fought against brother, noble house turned against noble house, and the deep-seated harmony that had been the bedrock of Inca society began to shatter. The land was bleeding, weakened and distracted. It was precisely at this moment of internal turmoil, this moment of profound vulnerability, that the Spaniards struck. They weren't just marching into a foreign land, they were marching into the heart of a storm. The victorious brother, Atahualpa, had just defeated Huáscar and secured his claim as the new Sapa Inca. Hearing of the strange visitors in his land, he agreed to meet them in the city of Cal. He approached the meeting with the confidence of a triumphant king, believing it to be a diplomatic encounter. He arrived in a magnificent litter, adorned with gold and parrot feathers, surrounded by thousands of his unarmed nobles and attendants, a display of royal splendor, not military might. He saw no threat in this tiny group of foreigners. But Pizarro and his men had no intention of a peaceful greeting. They had laid a trap. As Atahualpa entered the main square, a Spanish priest stepped forward, holding a Bible, and demanded through a translator that the Inca king accept Christianity and swear allegiance to the Spanish crown. Atahualpa, confused by this strange artifact, took the book. He held it to his ear, expecting to hear the word of this new god. When it remained silent, he reportedly asked, "Why does this book not speak to me?" and tossed it to the ground. That was the signal Pizarro was waiting for. In an instant, the square erupted into chaos. Cannons roared, filling the air with thick, acrid smoke. Spanish soldiers, hidden in the surrounding buildings, opened fire with their arquebuses. The cavalry charged, armored men on monstrous horses trampling through the panicked, unarmed crowd. The sky filled with smoke, screams, and the glint of steel. It was a massacre. In a matter of minutes, thousands of Inca were slaughtered. The Inca Empire didn't begin to fall in a great battle of armies. It began to crumble in an act of calculated betrayal, and amidst the carnage, the unthinkable happened. The son of the sun, the divine emperor Atahualpa, was captured. Imprisoned, Atahualpa quickly understood what his captors truly desired. It wasn't faith or fealty. It was gold. In a desperate bid for freedom, he made an astonishing offer. He promised to fill the large room he was held in once with gold and twice over with silver, as high as he could reach. It was a king's ransom on a scale the world had never seen. Pizarro agreed, and so the command went out across the empire. For months, a river of gold flowed into Caja. Priceless artifacts, sacred objects, intricate jewelry, golden statues of llamas, corn, and deities. The accumulated wealth of a century was melted down into ink. The room was filled, just as promised. It was a treasure beyond the wildest dreams of any conquistador. But for men like Pizarro, greed has no limits, and promises are tools to be discarded. Despite receiving a ransom that would make him one of the wealthiest men in the world, he saw the living emperor as a threat. Atahualpa was still a symbol of power, a rallying point for his people. The Spaniards held a mock trial, found him guilty of bogus charges, and sentenced him to death. With the execution of their divine leader, the symbolic heart of the Inca world stopped beating. The son of the sun was extinguished, and the Empire of Light, once a beacon of order and harmony in the Andes, began its final, irreversible fall into darkness. The great civilization, undone not by a superior army, but by greed, disease, and a single, devastating act of betrayal. Thrown high in the Andes Mountains of Peru, shrouded in mist and mystery, lies a city that was lost to the world for centuries. A city built so precisely, so harmoniously, with its surroundings, that it seems to have been sculpted by the gods themselves. This is the story of Machu Picchu, the hidden city of the Inca. Music swells slightly, with panoramic shots of the mountains. To understand Machu Picchu, we must first understand the people who built it. The Inca were more than just brilliant engineers and architects. They were astronomers, farmers, and spiritualists. Their empire, Tawantinsuyu, was one of the largest and most sophisticated in the pre-Columbian Americas, stretching over 2,500 miles along the spine of the Andes. They didn't have a written language as we know it, no alphabet or scrolls. Instead, they had the quipu, intricate arrays of knotted strings used to record data, from census numbers to historical events. Their history was woven, not written. They also had a deep, profound connection to the natural world. For the Inca, everything was alive with spirit. The mountains, or appas, were powerful deities. The sun, Inti, was their principal god, and the Sapa, Inca, their emperor, was considered his living son on earth. This worldview is literally carved into the stones of Machu Picchu. They believed everything was connected: the sky, the earth, the people, the gods. Machu Picchu is not just stoned, it's a living map of their universe. The city is strategically aligned with the stars and sacred mountain peaks. Take the Intihuatana stone, for example, often called the hitching post of the sun. This masterfully carved granite pillar is a precise astronomical clock. During the equinoxes, the sun stands directly above the pillar, casting no shadow at all. It was a sacred instrument, a way to connect their daily lives to the grand cosmic dance. So why was this marvel of engineering built in such a remote, inaccessible location? For a long time, historians believed it was a fortress, the last bastion of Inca resistance against the Spanish. But modern research paints a different picture. The delicate stonework, the numerous temples, and the relatively small number of dwellings suggest it was something far more significant. The most widely accepted theory today is that Machu Picchu was a royal estate, a sacred retreat built around 1450 for the great Inca Emperor Pachaki. Imagine it. A place for the emperor and his court to rest, to perform religious ceremonies, and to feel closer to the gods. It was a spiritual and administrative center, a testament to Pachacuti's power and his devotion. The city is divided into two main sectors: the agricultural zone, with its iconic terraces, and the urban zone, where the people lived and worshipped. Those terraces are a wonder in themselves. They aren't just for decoration. They were a sophisticated agricultural system. They prevented erosion, maximized sun exposure, and created microclimates that allowed the Inca to grow a variety of crops, like maize and potatoes, at an altitude of nearly 8,000 feet. A complex system of channels and aqueducts, carved from rock, brought fresh water from a natural spring more than half a mile away, supplying the entire city with a constant flow. The craftsmanship is so precise that many of these water channels still function today, over 500 years later. The stonework in the urban sector is even more astonishing. The Inca were masters of a technique called ashlar masonry, where massive stones are cut so perfectly that they fit together without any mortar. You can't even slip a knife blade between them. How did they achieve this without iron tools or the wheel? They used harder stones and bronze tools to slowly pound and grind the rocks into shape, a painstaking process that required immense patience and skill. Some of these stones weigh over 50 tons. Moving them up the steep mountainside and fitting them into place is an engineering feat that still baffles experts today. The Triving sacred city, a jewel of the Inca Empire, was occupied for only about a century. Its golden age was brilliant, but tragically brief. In 1532, the Spanish conquistadors, led by Francisco Pizarro, arrived on the shores of South America. They brought with them steel swords, firearms, horses, and diseases to which the native population had no immunity. What followed was a swift and brutal campaign of conquest. Within years, the mighty Inca Empire, with its millions of subjects, fell to just a few hundred Spaniards. The capital city of Cusco was captured and burned. Its grand temples were looted for gold and silver, their sacred stones repurposed to build Catholic churches. The Inca world was turned upside down, and Machu Picchu, it simply vanished. Music becomes more dramatic, melancholic. Visuals show jungle vines and mist. There's no record of its existence in any Spanish writings. No conquistador or colonial historian ever mentioned its name. It's as if the jungle swallowed it whole. For nearly 400 years, the lost city of the Inca was just that. It became a whisper, a local legend known only to a few farmers living in the surrounding valleys. Why was it abandoned? Why was it never found by the Spanish? The most likely theory is that the inhabitants left the city around the time of the Spanish conquest. Perhaps the civil war that raged within the Inca Empire just before the Spanish arrived disrupted the supply lines. Or perhaps the devastating smallpox epidemic reached the city, forcing the survivors to flee. Because it was never found, it was never plundered. Its remote location, which once made it a perfect royal retreat, now became its salvation. The jungle grew over the temples and homes, hiding them from the outside world, preserving them in a silent, green embrace. For centuries, it slept until 1911. A young Yale history professor named Hiram Bingham arrived in Peru, obsessed with finding Vilcabamba, the legendary last capital of the Inca. He wasn't a trained archaeologist. He was an adventurer, a historian with a thirst for discovery. Guided by local farmers, he trekked through the dense, unforgiving cloud forest. On July 24th, a local guide named Melchor Artiga led him up a steep mountainside. There, pushing aside thick vines and undergrowth, Bingham laid his eyes on the impossible. Terraces climbed the mountain. Walls of perfectly cut white granite rose from the jungle floor, overgrown, silent, and yet still standing, virtually untouched by time. He hadn't found Vilcabamba, but he had stumbled upon something far more magical, a place that would capture the imagination of the entire world. Bingham's discovery brought Machu Picchu to global attention. He and his team returned to excavate, clearing the jungle and cataloging thousands of artifacts. His photographs and articles in National Geographic transformed the site from a forgotten ruin into an international icon. Today, millions of people from every corner of the globe walk these ancient steps. They touch these sacred stones and feel something that words cannot fully describe. Maybe it's the spirit of the Inca, still lingering in the thin mountain air. Maybe it's the raw, powerful energy of the Andes Mountains that cradled the city. Or maybe it's the eternal echo of a people who, through sheer will and ingenuity, refused to be forgotten. Meditative, soaring music swells over panoramic sunrise shots. Machu Picchu is more than a ruin. It's a message from the past. A message that faith, precision, and living in harmony with nature can create something truly immortal. It reminds us that some things, built with purpose and respect, can withstand the ravages of time, conquests, and forgetting. The hidden city of the Inca Gods still lives, not as a myth buried in the jungle, but in every single stone that continues to touch the sky. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey to one of the world's most incredible wonders. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration. We love hearing from you, so leave a comment below and let us know what wonder of the world you'd like us to visit next. Until then, keep exploring.